Hey there, Chris Trapani, the Mortgage Pro. People ask about applications and what's on an application. And for some reason, sometimes people get intimidated by an application. So I just want to kind of share with you what it is. We're obviously going to ask for your full name, full legal name. We're going to ask for your date of birth and social security number. There's no such thing as a mortgage application without it because we need those things to run a credit report. So step number one, we need to identify you. Number two, what's your address? We need your address for the last 2 years. Unfortunately, that's just the way it works, is you must have 2 years of residency. So it's not a problem. But if you moved a year ago, we just need the previous address. If you lived there for 9 months, then we need the previous address. We need 2 full years, and that's partially for credit, that's partially for stability. Okay, if somebody's moved around 18 times in the last 2 years, there better be a good reason for it, type of thing. So we need your proof of who you are. We need proof of your date of birth and your address so that we can run the credit report. The next thing we're going to ask is, where do you work? Do you have a job? How long have you been there? We need 2 years. So if you've changed jobs, that's not a problem, but we need 2 years. So if it's 2 jobs or even 3 jobs, we need to have the history of the jobs. We need to know where you work, the name of the company, the address, phone number, because we have to send them a verification of employment form so that they can verify how much money you make. Now, a lot of times it's like, hey, here's my pay stubs, here's my W-2s. Well, what if you work overtime? A verification of employment form will show us how much overtime you made for the last 2 years, and there's certain ways we have to credit that. So we have to have all that information, and that's for all jobs in the last 2 years. Now, the next thing we're going to ask is, how much money do you have? What do we mean? Well, you have money in a bank, checking account, savings account. Do you have a 401k? Do you have a stock account? Where is your money? Because we need a down payment, we need closing costs. We have to prove where those things are coming from. And it's okay if it comes from a gift. It's okay if it comes from grandma. It really doesn't matter. But we do have to know where it comes from, and we have to prove it. So it's going to ask for the name of the bank. And it's going to ask for the account numbers because we can verify certain things through them. We're also going to ask you for 2 months bank statements. Basically, it's going to show how much money you have in the bank. And when the loan officer asks you for 2 months bank statements, he wants all pages. Do not redact anything or we throw it away. We can't use it. So we need all pages. And even if it says this page intentionally left blank, we still need it because we don't know, the underwriter doesn't know that it says that until they say it. So we need 2 months bank statements. If you have stock accounts, the last statement, a 401k, the last statement, those type of things, just one statement. Now, we also need to know what your debts are. We're going to run the credit report. So that's not part of the application, but we do need to know that. Okay, we're obviously going to do that. Now, lastly, we're going to have these disclosure type of items. Are you white? Are you black? Are you Hispanic? Are you Asian? They're going to ask these for a reason. And a lot of people get insulted. And legally, we have to answer. Even if you don't answer, we have to answer what we believe you to be. It could be based on your last name. It could be based on visual, if we meet each other, or driver's license. So we legally have to do that. And people say, well, why do we have to do that? Well, the truth is, it helps fight racism. And how does it do that? Well, at the end of the year, they take all people with a certain FICO score, okay, whites, black, Asian, Hispanic, any different minority groups, and they'll say, well, who pays more? Why does this group pay more than the other group with the same FICO score? So it helps them fight racism. So that's a good thing. Don't be offended by it. It's going to ask you questions, the application. Have you had a bankruptcy in the last 10 years? Have you had a foreclosure in the last 7 years? It's just going to ask you bankruptcy 7 years, sorry. It's going to ask you a whole bunch of different things like, are you going to live in the property? Have you owned a home for the last 3 years? It's basically simple. I could send you my application. You could fill it out in 10 minutes tops. Most of you can fill it out in 5. So it's a simple thing. Don't be intimidated. And if you are, just call your loan officer, or of course call me. and I'll help you do it. Simple. Hey, there's a link at the end of this video and inside the text in the description. There is a link for an application. You're going to see how easy it is.